He's the great-grandson of Levi Uley and the son of Joshua Uley and Allison Uley. He is the alpha of his pack and is engaged to Emily Young, on whom he is imprinted. He is Leah Clearwater's ex-boyfriend. Sam was the first member of the current generation to phase into a wolf. Welcome to the Amagi. In today's video, we're going over the life of Sam Uley. Before we begin, we publish new content every week, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Early life. Sam was raised on the Quileute Reservation by his mother, Allison Uley. The stress of providing for a family was too much for his father, who left when Sam was very young. Sam took on most of what should have been his father's responsibilities, and as a result, he was always very mature for his age. He had been taught the old werewolf legends about his great-grandfather, Levi Uley, but like everyone else of his generation, Sam believed they were myths. When he was a sophomore in high school, Sam began dating Leah Clearwater. During his senior year, he became the first of his generation to phase into a wolf. Having no idea what happened to him and struck by panic, he hid deep in the forest for 2 weeks. Finally, he calmed down enough that he turned back into a human while he slept. He snuck home and told no one about his experience. He wouldn't talk to his mother or to Leah. He believed that he'd gone insane and was having delusions. He lived in fear of another transformation until Quill Latira III stopped by to see Allison and happened to shake Sam's hand. Old Quill had been taught to recognize the signs of a werewolf who is already phased or is about to. Sam's high temperature and recently unexplained disappearance made the situation clear to Old Quill. That night, Old Quill, Billy Black, and Harry Clearwater went to Sam's house and invited him to a council meeting and explained that they knew what had happened to him, and that everything he thought were myths were really facts, and that some members of their tribe have the power to transform into werewolves, and that there are real vampires. The appearance of the Cullen family was the cause of his transformation. After that, he took his responsibility toward the tribe very seriously. Though everything became clear, he had trouble controlling his newfound powers. When Jared Cameron and Paul LaHote started phasing, he took the responsibility of explaining and teaching them how to control their powers. They bonded through shared experience and mutual secrecy. His relationship with his mother and Leah became more difficult because he couldn't give away any information about what had happened to him. His relationship with Leah was strained but not broken. When Leah's cousin, Emily Young, came to town for a visit, Sam was asked to stop by their house to hang out. He had already met Emily several times and liked her very much. However, when he met her for the first time after he phased, he imprinted on her the moment he looked into her eyes. Fighting the urge to be near Emily, he left without a word. That night, he went to the Clearwaters' house and broke up with Leah without explanation. He was consumed with painful guilt of breaking Leah's heart. Leah was devastated, but she hoped for the future, but Sam told her to give up hope on him. Sam then spent 2 days waiting for Emily to return to her home in Mia Bay. He forced himself to stay away while she was with Leah, determined to keep from hurting Leah any more than was absolutely necessary. Emily was surprised to see Sam, having heard about the breakup. She was horrified when he explained that he had broken up with Leah in order to be with her. He obeyed when she told him to leave, but didn't stay away for long. Eventually, he told her all his secrets and even phased in front of her. At that point, she had no choice but to believe, but she still couldn't accept his feelings for her. However, she didn't order him to leave and never come back, so he returned and they continued to argue. Emily wanted him to go back to Leah and try to make it work, but Sam didn't want to hurt Leah anymore. As time passed, Emily began to spend time with Sam, letting him tell her everything from the dangers of vampires to the legends of the tribe, and was even introduced to other members of his wolf pack. But then she heard rumors about her behavior and realized what it looked like to Leah. She then ordered Sam to stay away from her and go back to Leah. Although he could agree to stay away, he couldn't agree to be with Leah again. He did not want to hurt her further by pretending. Emily, though aware of his pure caring for Leah's well-being, shoved him away and called him a liar, saying that he was running away from his responsibilities just like his father did. Hearing Joshua's name caused Sam to accidentally phase, his restraining hand turning into claws and raking down her face and right arm. Sam, believing that he had killed the woman that he loved, became frantic and could not calm himself to phase back. Jared was able to hear him in wolf form and contacted Paul and Sue Clearwater, who was a nurse and aware of the tribe's secrets. They managed to get Emily to the nearest hospital. To keep their secret safe, they told the doctor that Emily had been mauled by a bear. It took some time for Sam to calm down and become human again, though he was still burned by pain. Jared kept him updated on Emily's condition, which was not critical. The next afternoon, Jared told Sam that Emily was asking for him. Sam went into Emily's hospital room and saw her face covered with bandages. They both knew that she was scarred for life. Sam asked her to tell him to kill himself so that he could escape the misery. He couldn't commit suicide without knowing for certain that this is what she wanted. But Emily had asked him to visit because she knew how horrified he would be and how unintentional his action had been. She didn't want him to blame himself for what was truly an accident. She had already forgiven him. She'd also realized, as she lay there in the hospital, that the one person she really wanted there with her was Sam, as she felt lonely and incomplete without him. Sam never completely forgave himself, but he put those feelings aside as much as possible to make Emily happy. Emily no longer fought her feelings. Though Leo was furious with them, their relationship progressed easily as they found it effortless